Fishtank Live has just undergone quite possibly its most tragic setback to date. From breaching the mainstream to being removed from the premises of its own show, nothing could have prepared fans of the show for what may have been the most fun, the most action-packed, but also the most tragic 2 weeks in the show's history. Before I get ahead of myself, let me take us back to the very beginning as we make our way through what led up to the tragedy of Fishtank's 4th season. Coming off of the rocky ending to its 3rd season and its confusing, bittersweet endings, things were turbulent in the fish tank community, with feelings split in regards to the RV tank experience and how preventable the circumstances that led up to it were. However, time heals all wounds, and as fast as it came, it was gone, and fans were back to eagerly awaiting on the next project the production would be undertaking. The first thing to drop in this regard was StreamStars, a live audition to become one of the very fish that we would all come to love or hate in the next season. Participants would need to create their own impromptu version of the live show in their rooms to prove their ability to become a star. Though this was mostly a cesspool of degeneracy and was promptly memory holed, never to be utilized for more than a few standout participants. The next crumb we received was through Jet, requesting support from local fans to the Massachusetts and Rhode Island area to help build the set for Blood Games 2, the successor to last summer's fan-favorite side project, filled with camping, roleplay, and previous all-star characters returning in a new setting in the woods for 2 weeks worth of vampires and spells. With open calls for help building the set, the fanbase was convinced that the next piece of fish tank content they would be enjoying was this highly anticipated project. That was until
the fish tank is a fully automated smart house. Fully monitored smart house. Fully monitored.
In a surprise turn of events, on May 27th, the trailer for a 4th installment of Fish Tank was posted to YouTube, with a go-live date of Friday, June 13th, a date which would later serve as an omen for the season as a whole. Later, on the 30th of May, as is seemingly now tradition, an investor stream was held on the site, which had many technical problems as the site was now locally hosted by the production team on their own servers. Using the investor stream as a stress test, as well as an opportunity to make multiple announcements preceding the season, starting in only 2 weeks. Among these was the introduction of StoX, a revamped system for users to show support to their favorite fish, as well as give them a more tangible way to represent the fans' feelings regarding any given fish, as any fan who didn't want to lose all their tokens to a failing fish would sell their StoX and invest in another who was more profitable. This proved a much more fun and interactive method for users to support fish, but also led back to a deep-seated issue within the grander community regarding the manipulation of the show by whales. Also known as pay pigs, whales are fans with a lot of time and money used for tipping the scales for whichever fish is their favorite. While fans of varying income hate them, they are a necessary evil when it comes to keeping the lights on and the galaxy gas flowing in the basement, so the StoX market was generally a great success in revamping the interactive nature of the show. Along with the new features on the site, there was also a promise to the fans that after the shit show that was Season 3's ending, there would be a much greater emphasis on communicating with fans regarding the state of the show, which later in this video will be up to your discretion whether or not they lived up to this promise in the end. To wrap up the investor stream section, there was a mention of bringing things back to basics, in order to prevent large-scale events from falling flat like in previous seasons. There would be a return to form for Fish Tank, a reboot of sorts for this season. Personally, I believe that to have been the true intention of this season, but a passing joke regarding a big twist in the second week was taken so literally and has spawned quite possibly the most schizophrenic theories this community has ever created, in order to satisfy their undying need to read into every micro-expression of the production team at all times. I personally do not believe any of this was part of some large-scale gaslight that went wrong or is still ongoing. This was simply a joke calling back to the twists and turns that led to the eventual destruction of Season 3. Though, if there are any feverish theorists watching, feel free to leave any theories in the comments so I can play my favorite game. Is this person schizophrenic, or just plain retarded? Season 4 of Fish Tank had the most ambitious advertising campaign of any other season. From an official clip channel to getting a VTuber to watch on stream, Fish Tank was aiming for their first big mainstream break. With this came branching out to streaming their director camera to other sites, primarily YouTube and Kick, as well as posting clips to multiple social media sites such as TikTok, Instagram, and X. This showed an incredible growth in the team's ability to capitalize on the virality of the show, and quite possibly led to some of the interesting characters that would appear as guests later this season. The day finally came, June 13th. The beginning of the new season was upon us, and much like everyone else, I was feverishly waiting for the cameras to go up and the new fish to be revealed. While there was a little delay in the cameras going up, once they did, we were met with the man himself, Jet Neptune.
This season, we're really taking the gloves off. Alright, start it.
Uncovering the cameras one by one, pulling the gloves used to black the cameras out while reiterating the phrase, "This season, the gloves come off," foreshadowing the breakneck pace in which the season would be escalating, for better or for worse. With the Season 1 house revealed to be returning in all of its nostalgic glory for fans of the original season, we were off to the races, and patiently waiting for each contestant to be revealed. Going in the order each fish entered the tank, we were first introduced to Ellie.
Ellie has entered Fishtank.
Ironically, a replacement for a contestant that dropped out last minute, Ellie was our very first fish revealed this season, showing off the fancy new intro cards that were prepared for each fish as their entrance to the house. Not every fish is very important to this story, especially Ellie, so I won't be going too in-depth on any of the fish that didn't have a meaningful impact.
Daniel has entered Fishtank.
Next in the tank was Daniel. Our first impression that there would be a heavy autism/fucked up nature to the contestants this season, silently promising more to come with each fish revealed.
About a minute, just give us some facial expressions, some points, whatever you want to do.
That's where it's at.
Freddy has entered Fishtank.
Third was Freddy, our regularly scheduled tweaker, following in the footsteps of such figures as Alex B, Jimmy, and John. Only we would have no idea what greatness he held within him until the booze began flowing in the following days.
Angelina has entered Fishtank.
The fourth came Angelina, the biggest fan introduction yet. We knew the contestants would be fans and had seen that Daniel at least had knowledge of the show and had been talking with Freddy about it, but Angelina was another beast, immediately gaining the disdain of many fans for soying out or being overly giddy in entering the house, and annoying everyone in front of and behind the cameras with her uncontrollable joy.
While she's doing
Orange
this,
has entered Fishtank.
you can head it now.
Fifth to enter was Derench, an Australian wildebeest with a taste for smoking crack and being a cam whore. Though that would be revealed later by fans tracking down every minute detail of each contestant's life, as is what happens each season within 24 to 48 hours.
In your head, all right? Good.
Jin has entered Fishtank.
Sixth was Jin, a self-proclaimed creep and weirdo, hell-bent on turning the 42 days in the tank into an Asian pervert's dreamland, with only one goal in mind: sex. Having only ever had sex with prostitutes, he enters the tank with the goal of his first truly consensual sexual encounter.
Entered Fishtank.
I don't know if they want me to say.
Second to last was Rachel, someone who will undoubtedly go down in Fishtank history because of her impact on the first half of the season. She is not only large in waistline, but also in personality, as we will be discussing soon.
Aria has entered Fishtank.
And our final contestant to enter the tank is Aryeh, a Jewish man with a head not unlike the hills of the Shire, rolling majestically over each other in groovy harmony. He and Daniel would prove to be on polar opposites of the autism spectrum, with Aryeh being a happy-go-lucky man-child filled with childish role models, notably SpongeBob, and a love for songs from cartoons, whereas Daniel is a brooding, hunched-over, silent autist with an edge of incel rage boiling under the surface, just waiting for alcohol to stir him into action. I touched on Rachel briefly in the introductions, and I think you'll understand there was too much to tell in just a brief character overview. Rachel came in with the most luggage by far, and a personality that was immediately suffocating. A self-proclaimed superfan, she came in with an abundant amount of unofficial custom-made Fishtank merch, such as hats, shirts, and even a board game. With such a fanatical first impression, one would think that that was all there was to her character, and one would be dearly mistaken. Rachel quickly took the largest bed in the house and made herself at home. So at home, in fact, that once she planted herself upon the bed, she hardly left for the duration of her stay within the tank. Rachel's size and personality immediately became the main focus of TTS and fan attention, with everyone's wanting to get their licks in on the hog. Her intense character and infallible ability to scream at TTS for 16 hours a day, from her bed, led to some even wondering if she couldn't be a plant by production, to farm as much money as possible from the fans, knowing they couldn't resist sinking their teeth into this beast of burden all day and night. This was good though, because it gave the other fish a villain to fight against, with only day 4 being marked with the fastest milk jug pour of any season of Fishtank to date. Though, even the production team grew tired of taking care of this cow quite quickly and gave up on keeping her from going insane from TTS harassment, and eventually had to coax her out of the house with the help of her, unsurprisingly, equally as fat fiancé, ending the week-long terror of Rachel, an infamy which will not be easily forgotten in the lore books of Fishtank history. Jin is an interesting case in this season, showing what the risk of having fans of the show on as contestants is. Daniel was the first to reveal this dark underbelly by quietly... I can't fucking talk, I got dick in my mouth syndrome. Daniel was the first to reveal this dark underbelly by quietly shit-testing production with aggravating comments and reckless behavior without regard to the structure of the show itself, needing the contestants to listen to the showrunners. Though Daniel was the initial perpetrator of these actions, he was quite popular with the fans, and thus the target was put on the back of the next person to slight the production, Jin. In the middle of the 4th day, during yet another Rachel crash out, Jin was silently removed from the tank as a contestant, with zero comment from production. An altogether enraging move for the fans, as Jin was beginning to gain popularity with his pervert and dickish personality. The only word of explanation on this was Goldstriker, saying that both Daniel and Jin had pissed them off, but Daniel was more popular at the moment, so he was allowed to stay. This was not taken lightly by the community, and there was a large uproar as this was not the open and honest communication that we had been promised before the season began. And if Jet and Sam couldn't take getting a little shit without changing the rules of the game, what other antics would they pull in the future? This unceremonious I'm so gay. This unceremonious removal of a contestant marked another event that left people wary: the arrival of Seth.
Very excited. Look at this. Look at this.
My new family. Hello, everyone.
Seth was not a bad addition by far, but the idea of replacing a fish 4 days into the expected 42 days of isolation did not bode well for the stability of this season. That being said, things moved along as planned with the beginning of the very first elimination challenge. The candy challenge was not new or even entirely impactful to the season, but I wanted to mark that in the official Season 4 timeline, the candy challenge ended up being the only elimination challenge to be completed in the tragically short duration of the season. And with its completion, after alliances, betrayals, and a lot of candy, Angelina was marked the one and only true loser of the season, having been too short on candy to be allowed to stay within the tank. Fishtank is no stranger to having guests on in order to spice things up and keep the audience engaged on any given day. However, this season was particularly special in having the most star-studded guests in the history of the show yet. Ricky Berwick, an iconic internet figure for being entirely fucked up and very funny, was a guest that was probably foreseeable after the reception of Airsoft Fatty's triumphant return season after season. A guest who no one could have guessed would make an appearance was Bam Margera of CKY and Jackass fame, an inspiration to the very concept of Fishtank and a legend in his own right. This moment, to me, is the absolute peak of Fishtank, with 2 ramps and some skateboards being brought in, for Bam to roll around on and hang out with the fish, there has been no moment up till now that solidified Fishtank's legitimacy as an internet institution as much as this guest did. Seeing how far this show has come in the few years it has been in existence is something that even a long-term fan like me can take pride in, and gives such a high level of satisfaction after watching the struggle and effort put into the show. And that only serves to intensify how saddening the results of this season are, and shortly after Bam's visit, we would see things begin to crumble. At the end of day 14, to the tune of a mariachi band, the Season 1 house was vacated. With the claims from production that they were being chased out of town and needed to get out of there tonight, this wasn't entirely a bad sign, as there had been a big twist foreshadowed, but even so, this was an insane situation, as the last time a house needed to be vacated, it marked a very turbulent era for the end of the previous season. Act 1 had concluded, and with trepidation and unease, we entered the unknown, and the house sat vacant. When the cameras cut, there was a lot of panic in the community. No one knew what was going on, and all we could do was trust the plan. And the plan evolved into Facility Z. Fishtank was now confined to a basement with mattresses littering the floor, food rations in one corner, and a bucket in the other. This was an interesting turn, and there was a lot of hope that this was a temporary setup and the second house was being set up. So for the time being, we were along for the ride, but near the end of the first day underground, as soon as it began, it was over. The bunker was shutting down along with the rest of the entire house. After the cameras went dark, things were silent from the team, until one Redditor by the name of Case Summer posted a video from inside of a car driving past the Season 2 house, with everyone outside and police speaking to them. Things were bleak as it seemed they had been doxxed, which was not unusual for Fishtank, but this time there would be no re-entering the house. Case Summer was quickly doxxed because of his car being identifiable in the video, as well as other posts on his account. And because of his video, many assumed that he had been the one to make the call that ended it all. So whatever was done with that dox is none of my business. My only hope is that he got what he deserved. The rest of this video is primarily going to be speculation, because in the time between the site going dark and the final announcement, there was little to no communication coming out of production. Some would attribute this to incompetence or malice, but I truly believe that in that time there was a mad dash to make something work, and that every update promising more to come once a day was honest in its intention. There clearly was a concerted effort to get things up and running again, but due to lack of foresight or malice from surrounding municipalities, it seemed there was no way things would get better before they got worse. The community psychosis peaked after an ominous tweet from the official Fishtank account saying only one word, simply soon. This was all it took for everyone to be filled with hope, and slowly, as that hope rotted and gave way to despair, as minutes turned to hours, turned to an entire day. A little over 24 hours after the soon message, there was an announcement to tune in now. This is what we were met with.
So gang, we are at the point now where Jet, Ben, myself are being threatened with criminal charges in all three of the places that we can film this show in some degree or another. And it would be cool to try to make the show from jail. The other thing is that the guy who made Season 1 possible by letting us use that location, he actually has been criminally charged now. With what? Producing a fun show? But yeah, he's criminally, he might be going to jail. So we have to pay for his legal defense and make sure that this guy doesn't get put behind bars. So that leaves us with two options, as far as I can tell. I don't know about you, but as far as I can tell, I see two options. Option one is we scramble right now to figure out a way to shoot the rest of this season out of state. And what that would mean is finding a township where this isn't gonna happen again, where there's a property that's amenable to our scat play and other things that we do to property. And more importantly, it would take it would take weeks to wire up a house and get the infrastructure and get our people out there, sort through these guys' plane tickets, hotel rooms, all that stuff. We'd be coming back in a month with a half-baked show. That's option one. We don't want to do that, okay? Option two, which is what we're going to do, is what we probably should have done at the end of season 3, which is to level everything. We're going to be putting our properties on the market, starting over from scratch, and rethinking the foundation that we use to build this show. The show's not going to change, the format's not going to change, but the infrastructure, the logistics, etc., that needs to be rethought from scratch. Now that we have money, now that we have a functioning website, we have agency, we have lawyers, all this stuff, we got to rethink it and not be flying by the seat of our pants. The good news is that this is what's necessary anyway to ensure that the show continues to survive. If we came back with a half-baked season, it would be the death rattle for Fishtank. And I'm 100% confident that if we went with option 1 and we tried to scramble and finish this season the way it was planned, it would be over. So for the preservation of the show, to make sure that we can keep providing you guys with entertainment and that it doesn't suck, we have to do a tactical retreat right now and basically rebuild all our shit in a place that's not going to mess with us, where we have a legal defense already there, like, you know, just building the foundation, that type of thing. Probably in a warehouse or some type of commercial or mixed zoned space, maybe Nevada, maybe Texas, something like that. Now, we've already started doing this. Ben and Jet are already, like, this is full speed ahead right now. We're going to try to make it so that it doesn't take a fucking year to get off the ground. We're going to try to aim to be back in a matter of months. And when we do come back, it will be better. All the issues that make this show hard to watch are going to be addressed in some way or another. The site, it's not going to be perfect, it never will be, but it's going to be better uptime, better all that stuff. The wiring, the infrastructure, the IT, it's going to be better. But to do that, we have to restart. As far as what we're going to do with these contestants, well, we're going to kill them.
That was it. Season 4 had ended. A season which was gearing up to be the biggest and best iteration of Fishtank yet had been struck down before its time. And that's Fishtank Season 4. 2 weeks out of the 6 weeks that we were promised. Things didn't go quite to plan, and a lot of disappointment, a lot of sadness, a lot of dread for what is to come. But with that, with the Doomers, with the Gooners, with the Sooners, come the Hopers, the Copers, and everything else. Everyone is ready for Fishtank. This season proved that it's gonna work, that things are gonna keep moving, that even if this setback is happening today, tomorrow we are gonna get the season we need, the season we deserve, and Fishtank is gonna get the recognition that it deserves as something bigger than some little shitty, edgy show on a website that nobody would check out. And we're in store for the golden era. It's to be seen. People will look back, they'll say Season 1, Season 2, the golden era. People will go, it's Season 3 is the golden era. People will say anything. But I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what Fishtank has in store for us, and what production has in store for us, and what Sam, Jet, Ben, any of them have in store for us, because they nailed it this season. They nailed it in every aspect of entertainment. Not a moment. 14 days felt just as long as Season 3 or Season 2. It was so jam-packed and there was so much going on and it showed so much potential that there's no way I could do anything but be excited and ready for next season, for Season 5, because it can only go up from here. And People are going to want to naysay. People are going to be mad. But they're always going to be mad. So, from this point on, we just keep pushing. We just keep on pushing. And I just look forward to the next season. I'm going to keep my season pass. I'm going to keep looking at the merch. I'm going to keep doing it all because I believe in the show. And you should too. Because it's something you've never seen before, and as many copycats as are going to keep popping out of the woodwork, you're never going to see something like it again either. That's about all I have to say about Fishtank. I just wanted to come on here, ramble for a minute, because a lot happened from the time between script writing and today. It's been about a month, a little bit more, a little bit less. And my bad. I took a little bit getting this ready. I suck ass at YouTube, so my bad. Kill me, shoot me over it, whatever. But I felt this video was important. The more people that get eyes on Fishtank, the happier I'm going to be, because it's something that deserves every minute of its watch time. And every dollar that I've put into it, I have not regretted. I can't say so much for the simps that watched their bays go home early. I don't know. Dr. Cross might be hanging somewhere right now. I couldn't tell you, but me personally, as an average season pass holder, I'm pretty happy. I'm not too mad. I'm pretty cool. So, yeah. If you think I'm an idiot, if you think this was cool, if you think anything about this, leave a comment, like it or whatever, subscribe or all the other bullshit. I don't know. I've never done this part. But I hope you liked it, and hopefully I'm trying. I'm trying to get myself in the mindset. I'm going to keep working on videos. So stay tuned. Stand back and stand by, Patriots. Big things are coming from Q. From old Bickanon. So I'll talk to you later.